Teresa family. My name is Amy Allert, and welcome to this week's episode of The Ark. So before we begin, as always, please make sure everyone in the domestic church is gathered together, and go ahead and pause the video to say an opening prayer. So our first reading comes from the book of Leviticus. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "If someone has on his skin a scab or pustule or blotch, which appears to be the sore of leprosy, he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of the priests among his descendants. If the man is leprous and unclean, the priest shall declare him unclean by reason of the sore on his head. The one who bears the sore of leprosy shall keep his garments rent and his head bare, and shall muffle his beard, and shall cry out, 'Unclean, unclean.' As long as the sore is on him, he shall declare himself unclean, since he is in fact unclean. He shall dwell apart, making his abode outside the camp." So in the Jewish culture, if someone contracted leprosy, which was a broad term for different kinds of skin diseases, they were basically quarantined. They were removed from family and friends and could not participate in regular activities or eat with anyone or be with anyone. They had some understanding that isolation prevented the spread of the disease, but what was of greater importance was that their exclusion wasn't so much for medical reasons as it was for religious reasons. So people went to the priest, not for prayer or for a cure, but rather for an examination and a diagnosis. And the priest determined whether a person was clean or unclean and whether they were cured or not. This may seem really strange to us today. The many laws in Leviticus help us understand the meaning of life for the Israelites. These laws developed out of their experience of striving to be faithful to God and were interpreted and taught by the priests of the tribe of Levi. Physical disease was sometimes understood as a symptom of sin or spiritual contamination. Holiness and wholeness went together. So if something or someone was considered defective or infected, it or they then lacked integrity or purity. Later, though, the prophets and Jesus would emphasize that impurity comes from the heart, not from something outside of the person. So let's pause now so you can talk about this with each other. Our second reading is from the first letter of Corinthians. "Brothers and sisters, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do everything for the glory of God. Avoid giving offense, whether to the Jews or Greeks or the church of God. Just as I try to please everyone in every way, not seeking my own benefit, but that of the many, that they may be saved. Be imitators of me as I am of Christ." So Paul is encouraging the community of Corinth, as disciples and followers of Jesus Christ, to be kind to one another, to build each other up, to not get too self-absorbed in their own way or ideas or preferences that they might get sidetracked from their primary mission. Because Paul's whole mission in life was to bring people to Christ. And that's what he's trying to teach them how to do, how to be disciples, how to bring people to Christ. Remember that Paul was the only apostle that didn't see Jesus before his death on the cross. Paul had his encounter, his experience with the risen Christ when he fell off his horse. So Paul was a missionary that brought the message of Christ to the Corinthians. They had never seen or met Jesus either. But Paul doesn't make any of them feel bad or ashamed that they don't yet know Jesus. Rather, he's excited and happy and eager to help them both understand Christ's message of salvation, love, mercy, and how to treat people, as well as how to share it with others. He tells them to imitate him because he is of Christ. I think Paul definitely got it right when he encourages to be kind to each other and to be like Jesus as his disciples. So pause now and reflect on these questions. And our gospel comes from Mark. A leper came to Jesus and kneeling down, begged him and said, If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand, touched him, and said to him, "I do will it. Be made clean." The leprosy left him immediately, and he was made clean. Then, warning him sternly, he dismissed him at once. He said to him, "See that you tell no one anything, but go show yourself to the priest and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad so that it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. He remained outside in deserted places, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. Wow, this gospel is really emotion-filled. So here again, we have a man afflicted with leprosy. But unlike the first reading, this man approaches Jesus and passionately pleads to Jesus for healing, to be made clean. And Jesus was moved with pity for this man. The man seems very sincere and desperate. Maybe he had a family and knew he wouldn't be able to take care of them because he wasn't allowed to work or to be with them. But no matter what the reason, his plea registered with Jesus, and Jesus does in fact heal him. He says to the man, "I do will it. Be made clean." And then he sends the man off to the priest to be inspected because that was still the custom for a person with leprosy, and Jesus respected the Jewish law. That way, once declared cured by the priest, the man could go back fully and actively into his community. But Jesus also told the man not to tell anyone about what happened. Maybe you remember from last Sunday, Father Larry gave us a reason for why Jesus did this sometimes. If you think about it, if you were to witness a miracle, like a person suddenly being cured of something, a very exciting action, compared to listening to a parable about a lost coin, which would probably catch your attention? Which would you want to probably tell your friends about? So Jesus knew that his message of repentance and total conversion to God could get lost in the noise and the excitement of miracle working. Today in our society, we still exclude people for all kinds of reasons: race, homelessness, addictions, sexual orientation, nationality. But Jesus shows us by his example, both in how he treated people and what was in his heart, that we need to strive to see beyond the surface and see the true worth of a person. Jesus' overriding love for the human person, whether they are holy or sinful, without exception, is still the greatest challenge he gives us to follow, then and now. Okay, thank you, St. Teresa. We'll see you next time. God bless.